This morning's hearing is on H.R. 2295, the National Energy Security Corridors Act, introduced by Representative Tom MacArthur and Representative Cedric Richmond, legislation that would facilitate natural gas pipeline rights-of-way on federal lands. If we're going to have an open and honest discussion about the energy needs of this country, a necessary part of that dialogue must be dedicated to how that energy gets from point A to point B. If it was only just that simple. The truth of the matter is that our nation's energy infrastructure needs are facing more challenges by the day. We cannot get our domestic resources to American families and businesses that rely upon them for daily use. Hydro, solar, wind, coal, natural gas, nuclear, and crude all are facing an uphill battle when it comes to getting these important energy resources to market, especially when you have to cross federal lands to get there. But it doesn't have to be that way. Our nation's energy landscape has completely changed over a relatively short period of time, and our energy infrastructure is still catching up. For instance, in 2007, the Marcellus Shale was producing just over 1 billion cubic feet per day of natural gas. This April, Marcellus averaged 16.7 billion cubic feet per day and accounts for 18% of our nation's natural gas supply. We should be proud of the fact that the United States is the global energy leader. U.S. oil and gas production has surpassed Russia and Saudi Arabia. Yet we still see over 25 states in January of this year where families are facing residential natural gas prices that are higher than the national average. As you can see displayed on the screens, most of these states are on the East Coast. And you'll see the red states on the U.S. map there on both screens. Massachusetts is 54% above the national average. New York is 11% above. Even right here in the D.C. metro area, we see Virginia, Maryland, and the District of Columbia in the double digits. Pennsylvania is mere hours away from this hearing room and producing over 16 billion cubic feet of natural gas per day. Doesn't it make sense that this energy produced by the American people should be able to reach these East Coast markets? One of the biggest obstacles preventing the full benefits of our nation's shale gas revolution from reaching these areas is federal lands. While all other agencies under the purview of the Secretary of the Interior are able to negotiate rights of way so that natural gas pipelines can cross federal lands, the Mineral Leasing Act exempts National Park System lands from having this authority. To put it simply, every single time a pipeline needs to cross a parcel of land managed by the National Park Service, a company needs to get congressional approval. Since the late 80s, there have been 5 bills to grant this approval. It should not take an act of Congress to get this done. Representative MacArthur's legislation demonstrates a willingness to work across the aisle and formulate common sense, bipartisan solutions that will help connect areas where the shale gas revolution is charging ahead to areas where it can be utilized. This bill provides the Secretary of the Interior with the authority to permit right-of-way for natural gas pipelines only on all federal lands. The bill also takes a creative approach in providing the Secretary additional authority to work with her counterparts at the federal, state, and local level to plan for the future and find areas that make the most sense for natural gas pipeline crossings and to designate those areas as national energy security corridors. The issue at hand is very simple. Federal lands are entrusted to the federal government for a reason, to make sure those federal lands are being managed to the best interests of the American people. The long-standing position to just say no or go ask Congress has never been a workable solution for all parties involved. We cannot stand idly by as entire regions of our nation are held back from our vast domestic and affordable natural gas supply. There has got to be a way for responsible land management and energy security to coexist. I think Mr. MacArthur's bill puts us on that path. The United States does not derive energy security from production alone. It also comes from harnessing these energy resources and using them to help American families and American businesses thrive on our shores. As more and more Americans rely on domestic natural gas for electricity generation, heat, and manufacturing, we need to find ways to help that supply get to where it needs to go. I hope this is one of the areas where we can work together across the aisle to promote economic prosperity and grow energy security in our nation.